I'm growing and I'm investing to grow my show right now. And it's already doing well. And it's only going to do better. And laid that out, spelled that out, got curiosity. And, he started asking me some questions. And next thing you know, I have my very first sponsor.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
What's up, podcaster? As you know, I've been hanging out with Julie Hawley for a little bit virtually. Actually, we may as well say this. You were in town and we all went to dinner at a Mexican restaurant. And that was good. Everybody says, hey, Adam, what's your favorite food? And I'll usually say like French food is number one. Indian food is like sushi is probably number two. Indian food's number three. But when it comes down to it, I always forget about Mexican food. And it's like one of my top foods, especially like tacos and what is it? Huevos rancheros. And what's the other one? There's some good ones. Anyway, well, this is not a food podcast.
Tamales.
This is, tamales are good. Let's jump in because we've been doing coaching calls with Julie, and a couple episodes ago with her, you might remember that we were talking a little bit about how to monetize your podcast and getting sponsors. And then the episode that just came out like on the 15th, a couple weeks ago, that one was all about getting good guests on your podcast. And so now we're going to have another coaching call. It's going to be recorded for you so you can learn and grow along with it. And I think this is a fun little activity that we've been doing. And if you haven't listened to like the first episode of this series, it might be beneficial for you to just go and find that. It's just a few episodes ago. It's basically every fourth episode is this episode with Julie. So it's been a fun journey. Her podcast is growing. She's enjoying it and we're having fun serving her. So let's jump in. Oh, and if you can tell that it sounds like I'm a little tired, whoops, I'm fasting. I haven't eaten in a couple of days. And so I don't want you to think that this is the energy that I bring every time. Usually it is one level higher and I'll try to keep it there for you so that it is more normal. What's up, Julie? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I would like to max out the energy, but this is my max energy level, which is already pretty high compared to most people. So
what is your other energy level? Because this is the only one I've seen. All I've seen is full throttle.
Yeah, no, I usually have the full throttle, but you know what? Every full throttle person has to have their downtime. So my family sees the super chill or the contemplative Julie that's in a book, just engrossed, cool. Highlighting. Yeah.
You know what? Next time you're in town or if I head out to Idaho, we need to get our mountain bikes.
I really wanted to bike with you when I was just out there in the Denver area. But I mean, considering your recent hand injury, it's not really conducive to any downhill mountain biking whatsoever.
I actually still wouldn't be able to hold on to the handlebars. So
because it's still so swollen or because it's so broken or so cut up?
I think I ruined a tendon in my middle finger. So I can't clamp it down all the way.
So you're always flipping people off.
Yeah. Or I can just wave to everybody. But the finger doesn't go down. And just, it hurts to try to hold on to even I can hold on to the steering wheel for a sec if I'm changing gears or something. But anyway, this is not a mountain biking podcast either. It's not a fast.
I'm going to become the host of the show for a little bit and guide the conversation.
Ready, set, go. It's your turn.
Okay. So we need to let people know where the numbers are. I made a commitment on the very first episode. And as Adam said, if you haven't already listened to that, go back because I explain what my role is in this collaborative case study effort. And so anyhow, one of my commitments to you amazing listeners is that I would be transparent with the numbers so that we could all watch what is taking place. And so right now, this show is growing and it's growing consistently. When the numbers are growing and you've been putting in the work consistently and being diligent, it's exciting to see that being rewarded.
100%. So how is it going? What are the numbers looking like for you so far?
Okay. Well, the numbers in the last 30 days, over 5,000 downloads. So
and where did we start?
I think that we were averaging about 2,500 was my 30-day average. So it doubled. if I look back over time. So that's cool. Super high five. I was terrified to make a commitment.
What did you promise you were going to be? Right now, was it 5,000?
I didn't promise anything as to where my downloads
I thought you were. Didn't you just said, I made a promise, I made a commitment? I thought that meant you promised the listener that there would be a certain number. Were you just promising transparency?
No, transparency.
Okay.
Promising that transparency is what I was promising. So I think that that's for me as someone that's been putting in the time. And I mean, a lot of you listening, you are probably where I was, where you were either self-editing or you had someone doing your editing, but you were finding a more economical way of going about that. And when I chose to partner with you, Adam, and grow your show, it was really scary. And it was like, I'm investing. It's not paying for something, you're investing in something. And because I believe in the show and what I'm creating, it was like, okay, it's time to really invest in this because this message really needs to get out. So for me, it's just extremely rewarding to see that that message is getting out. And when I saw you recently, I was actually speaking at an event and it was super cool, super duper cool that it was like, people coming up to me, oh my gosh, I listened to your podcast. And obviously they are people, not obvious, they are people in my niche that I am serving, but they were also people that I didn't know. Yeah. And so that was so rewarding to know that that message is reaching them. So
yeah, love it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, great partnership.
And 5,000 is pretty good. So we'll see what we can do if we can get it any higher, but 5,000 is pretty good.
Okay, so I think we can get it higher. That's going to be my challenge to the team.
We got time, so we'll just keep growing.
Yeah. So I made another commitment.
Sure.
2 episodes ago, we were talking about monetizing the podcast. And I made a commitment and I gave myself until April 15th to have my first sponsor. And I believe that, and we're going to have to go back.
April is like 6 more months from now, right?
Wait, did I say April? I meant August.
Okay.
Sorry. August 15th. Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. And for the listener, you're hearing this a couple of weeks after August 15th. No problem. But okay, so you made a commitment that you'd have one by a certain date and?
Thank you. And I almost didn't follow through on that commitment.
So why? What was keeping you away from it for a minute?
So I was really gung-ho, and I really want to break this down a little bit for the listeners because I know that we all share the human experience. And so this is probably something a lot of people are going to resonate with, and where it's, okay, I was like, yes, I can do this. I see the path. I can make this call. I know who I'm calling. And then I had to jump into a deal and I had travel for speaking and things like that. I had a lot of curveballs thrown my way. And I just got distracted. And as you allow time to distance yourself from that initial energy, that surge, really it's the clarity, it really clouded things. And I started to doubt myself. And are they really going to want to? But when you have accountability in your life, I love outside accountability, you realize I'm not going to show up to the show and record and not have put forth my effort. Now, you said, Adam, on that episode, listeners, go back and listen to that episode. You can hear Adam's words. And he's like, so many of my clients, the first call that they make, every time the first call, it's yes, we'll sponsor you. Yes. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to go for this. Made the phone call, sent a text message to the person, made the phone call, and just said, hey, here's the deal. I already refer a ton of people to you. I'm growing and I'm investing to grow my show right now, and it's already doing well, and it's only going to do better. And laid that out, spelled that out, got curiosity, and he started asking me some questions. And next thing you know, I have my very first sponsor. What?
Wait a second. So you still have a nearly perfect track record because one person had to call 2 people. And so far, everybody else only called 1. Now, you only did 1 person on the first call?
1 call, 1 person, and I got my very first sponsor. Okay, that would not have happened if I was not working directly with you, Adam. So if you're listening and you're thinking, okay, well, I want to partner with Grow Your Show, and you want to make excuses about, I don't need any coaching benefits or something, you are only giving half that investment to yourself. So it's just been, I would not have known how to go about that conversation. I would not have known or had the confidence to do that. And honestly, the accountability, which it's more about my ego and saving face and being able to show up here and not be like, yeah, so I didn't make a call. I would have felt super lame. So all of those things are really important. And that's part of that investment that when I invested in this partnership. So
that's amazing. One of the things that I want to extract or highlight is that you're talking about investing, not paying. And I usually on the podcast, I'll say some of this stuff is an investment, not an expense. It doesn't just disappear. It's not just you're putting the money out to have somebody help you with your podcast, or you're putting the money out to buy a house and you just lose money. You still have the asset, you still have the podcast, and now the asset's growing and it's paying you. And so instead of the podcast for you taking money out of your pocket every month, it's going to start as of prior to the date that you even mentioned, is going to start putting money into your pocket instead. So that's super, super good. It is an investment, not an expense.
Well,
or not paying.
Exactly. And really, before it was a liability. Now it's growing into an asset.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
It's like, I literally wanted to send you a message yesterday, and I knew that we were going to be recording today. And I told my family, and like, no, I have to say this face to face for the first time.
What I like best is that I didn't know until right now, until you're telling me right this second. So I appreciate you holding that so I could learn with the listener as well.
And I was kind of selfish really cool. on my part also. I'm like,
I love it. I think you must be the type of person who likes surprises, at least to give them.
Good surprises, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good surprises.
Yes, I do like to give good surprises. So that's been great.
Awesome. Before you go any further, let me just remind the listener, The Conscious Investor, her podcast, the link to it's already in the show notes. Also, her whole bio's in the show notes. And it would probably be beneficial for you to kind of go along with the journey episode by episode. So go back a few episodes, check out the 1 of 12 and then 2 of 12, 3 and 4 before you kind of listen on. But at any rate, it's The Conscious Investor. And that's just another example of investing. You are always investing. So you were about to say, before I cut you off.
No, totally fine. I think the other element here that's exciting is that not only is this becoming now an asset, it gives me more confidence. And as that partnership with that sponsor grows, because the sponsor said, I can come in at this level right now, but because of what the other tiers have to offer and how that would serve their company, it's like, would it be okay with you if I grew in that partnership month by month so that I came up to that top level? So yes, of course. And as we do that, I will be able to invest more in my partnership with Grow Your Show, which means my show grows more, which means I reach more, which benefits everybody. It will benefit my sponsors. It will benefit my coaching company. It will benefit my investing company. So
100%. I love the way that you put that. And it is so true. If you put in what you can for marketing today, and then you get the sponsorship and they put in what they can, and you can reinvest some of that, double down on it, and your credibility grows, your company grows, the amount of deals you close grow. Or if you're a consultant or a coach, then you would just be putting in more clients into your company instead of investors that way. And certainly because when you grow, I grow because A, you're happy and you'll tell other people, but also because you're able to command a higher dollar amount from more sponsorship and then invest more into our company, which benefits me and my employees as well. And your investors, because you can help more investors and then you just get more sponsorship. It's an upward spiral.
It's the best type of spiral. So now I have this other question.
Sure.
Right? This is almost like when you have your first child, where you're just excited, like, okay, we're incubating this life form. This is great. And then the child enters the world and you're like, oh, we love this person. They're here 24/7. They're going to be here 24/7 for the next 18 plus years. Like you see, reality sets in. So I've had a little bit of reality set in, and that is, okay, this is great. I got my first sponsor. Yay. And now I am a type of person that really likes to deliver and likes to ensure that that sponsorship is worth their while. I don't want somebody to come into something and it's ho-hum or so-so. And so I was thinking about, how do I structure this so that I can do my very best to ensure that they're getting the maximum results? Because if they're maxing out their results, they will want to increase their sponsorship and stay. It continues that really positive upward spiral.
Okay. Well, 30,000 foot view, you need to have the ads, right? So you got to record them somehow. When you're working with our company, if you need to use a voiceover artist, we always hire them for you for free. So we'll pay them. You don't have to. So if you need to have a voiceover artist record it for you, male voice or female voice, hit me up because that's included in your package. So we can do that. And I can help you write the copy. So unless like they've got an ad that they want to give you and have you put on the podcast, you and I can just sit down and write the copy for what it's going to say and kind of hone it in, make sure it's short, but we trim the fat. We trim the fat, but it's going to be valuable, but not useless, right? And trying to think what else. A lot of people offer secondary things. You might not have to. So we can talk a little bit about that, about where you are with that. But for example, like when I had some sponsors for my podcast, I ended up giving them discounts if they were sponsoring our conference. Like, you're already putting this amount, you get this much off of sponsoring this other thing that we do. And let's see what else. It just depends on what you offer. So you had 3 packages, you said? Okay. Would you mind telling us what those look like?
No, not at all, but I should pull them up just so I can speak accurately. But essentially, the lowest, the base tier was, here you go, 30-second ad in every podcast, a highlight of the company in the show notes with a link to their website. And they would have their product and service in front of listeners each and every week, 2 episodes.
Okay.
So that was just the base.
How much is that?
$2,500.
Boom, $2,500 a month. That's awesome.
So
right. So that's what they did? They did the lowest one?
That's what they did.
Okay. What are the next?
I want to grow with you. And so they go up $1,000. Every tier is $1,000 difference.
Okay. So 3,500 and 4,500.
Okay. Yeah. So on the top tier, I'll go to the top tier so people can kind of see the extremities here. And the top tier is, I'm going to give you a monthly, you will be like the expert on the podcast. Every single month, you'll get 1 episode where you're going to come on and we're going to talk about your product, service, like some of the nuances. It works well with this particular sponsor because what their product is, it is multifaceted and it is very complementary to my listener. Go back and listen to the avatar. I was keeping Ryan in mind as to how is this going to serve Ryan? What kind of information is, I want this to work for everybody. That's the only way it's going to work is if it works for Ryan and the sponsor and me. So anyway, having them on every single month as a recurring guest gives them an edge on everything and they get to be the expert, but that's going to come at a higher cost. And then the mid-level is I am offering exclusivity. And so I'm going to have only whatever that sponsor is. So I'm being very aware of, I want 2 sponsors ultimately, and I don't want them to be competing with each other because that's not going to create a healthy relationship.
Wait, there is something that doesn't make sense to me. So I want to mention it.
Yeah.
If you have 2 sponsors at the lowest level, you get $5,000 a month. If you have 1 sponsor at the highest level, you get $4,500 a month. And now you're saying you really want to give exclusivity to this $3,500 person, which cuts you out $500 from 1 top person, or cuts you out like, I don't know, $1,500 from 2 of the bottom ones. So why are you giving exclusivity to the middle level?
So that, because I wanted them at the mid-level. That's where I want everybody to land. And if I have two sponsors that are in complementary niches versus competing niches, then they can both be in there. And I'm not violating that exclusivity.
Is the exclusivity, so just what I think I'm hearing is it's exclusive to one person in one industry, not one sponsor completely.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so 3,500 is you'll be the only person that does what you do.
Yep.
But maybe you could have two $3,500 people.
Yep.
Okay, be careful how you use the word exclusive, because for me, I was thinking you were promising something different.
Okay. That is very, very insightful. Much appreciated.
Well, keep going. 3,500 middle level exclusivity for their industry.
For their industry. They will be promoted in every podcast episode. So that's similar to the base level, right? Link description, again, similar to base level. There will be an element of promo on social platforms. So we'll help get their name out there. And they will also have in the contract period 2 podcast episodes that they will be on.
Okay. So the 4,500, it's one podcast episode that they will be on every month. For, I think, 6 months?
For however long the contract is.
Okay. And then for the 3,500, it's they get 2 within the contract period. And how long are these contract periods? I like to recommend to people, absolutely the smallest ever would be 3 months contract, but really try to focus on 6 and 12-month contracts. So what are you thinking?
This is a 6-month contract period. It's a minimum of a 6-month contract.
Yep. Nice. And so they would get basically on the top level, they would get to be interviewed 6 times over 6 months. On the middle level, they would be interviewed twice over 6 months. Okay, cool. Keep going.
Yep. So there you go. That's it.
And how about the lowest level? Do they get interviewed at all, or?
Nope.
You don't get to have an interview. You only paid $2,500.
Exactly.
Sucker.
You're going to have your 30-second, advertisement, and there will, promote you in the show notes and everything. But I really took your advice as to your advice was, what would you really do, but you really don't want to do necessarily on the top tier? And what is just like the most basic thing? And really, where do I want people to land? And so
I get that.
That's how I built it out. It's my first time ever building out any concept like that. And it worked.
That's really, really, really awesome. A couple things. I've read a few sales books. And one of the things that a lot of the books say is when you really want somebody to know that this is like the lowest amount that you can offer this thing at, like this will help you, Julie, because you buy commercial real estate. And so one of the negotiation tactics is they say, I want 11.5 million. And you would come back and you would say, the most I can do is $11,168,372.71. This is my highest and best offer. And because it's a random number, because you're saying 11.5, I'm going to say 11.1. Well, they don't think that that's your highest and best yet. When you say 11.1 million, they think, that's a round number. So they're just kind of throwing something out and we're supposed to meet somewhere in the middle. But when you say like a crazy number, it's supposed to help. So actually, it's funny because some of our packages at Grow Your Show, when the listener goes to growyourshow, they will see like random numbers sometimes, but it is also intentional. So I'm trying to trick my listener, kind of. I mean, it's also intentional because it kind of does show that's your bottom line. It's not just a round number. So the reason I bring it up is because you got 2,500 and then exactly 1,000 more and then exactly 1,000 more. And an option that you can do is 25.68, 36.92.
The Walmart model.
And the Walmart model. There's a reason why one of the biggest companies in the entire world, Walmart, uses that. It's because psychologically it actually does work for us to really feel like we're getting a great deal. So anyway, I'll throw that out for you. And if you want to implement it the next go around, you absolutely can. So I see the smallest, the middle, and the biggest. I see that you're like me. You were trying to focus everybody to the middle. So you did the Goldilocks. You made one of them too hot and you made the other one too cold so that the middle one could be just right. And we will find that approximately 10% of people are going to pick the highest one no matter what. And we will find that approximately 10 people will get the best deal or just dabble and try you out no matter what. And the other 80% are going to pick the middle. Now, this person, they're planning on picking the middle, it sounds like, but they
actually want to go to the top.
Okay.
No, they want to land at the top,
cool.
But they just signed just upped an ad, their ad budget. They just went into some ad space and he's like, okay, as we get out of that each month, I want to just divert that money over into the podcast and grow with you.
Cool. Well, let's spend the next 5-ish minutes making sure you know what to do.
This would be
with great. This. So, I need to say one last thing. I suggest if you have these 3 tiers that the lowest one is 15-second ads. The middle one is 30-second ads. And the highest one is 45-second ads. So it's 15-second ads twice a month for the lowest. And then it's 30-second ads on every episode for the middle. And then it's 45-second ads twice on each episode for the top. You know what I mean? And so it just really jumps it up. It's basically every other episode or every episode or twice per episode. But then it's also 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and then maybe a couple of 45 seconds. Or you could do a 45-second and a 15-second on the same episode. So in the very beginning or middle, you can do a 45-second ad. And then at the middle or at the end, you can do a 15-second ad. So there's another couple of takeaways. And some people believe 15 seconds is nothing. I still want you to have it saying 15 seconds twice a month or 15 seconds every other episode. And if you need to throw in something extra, okay, go ahead and do 30 seconds. I'll do it just for this 6-month period since you are planning to go up. It's a negotiation tactic that helps them feel like they're really getting a good deal. And now they're appreciative of you. And you know that you would have done 30 seconds in the beginning. You know that back in the day, you would have just done 30 seconds. But now you're it's 15, it's every other, but I'll go ahead and do for you. I'll do the 15 on every episode. Will that help you to invest? Or I'll do the 30 seconds on every other, or however you want to do it. You can always throw something in. All right. Now, what is your concern? What's your concern? What's next with your monetization?
Okay. Well, actually, here's another question about the ads, though.
Okay.
So my question about the ads is because this is a company that I personally use and I already refer people to, which pay attention to that, listeners. I've been referring people to this company for the last 1.5 years.
And not getting paid.
And not getting compensated. That's almost like goodwill. I didn't know I was going to end up doing the sponsorship, but I was looking out for their best interests and my investors' best interests. And so it was just, hey, this is a really good opportunity. So I've been giving them over the last 1.5 years, their avatar as well. They already know, the people you send us are exactly the type of people that we want. So there is already that relationship established. And so some credibility there. Because I work with them, I'm already working with this company personally. Is it better for me, or would it be worthwhile for me to, in conjunction with a voiceover type ad, give a personal endorsement? Hey, my experience with this company has been phenomenal. This is what I love about them. This is what they've been able to do for me. And if you're looking for someone, is there one that's more beneficial than the other?
I would say it's probably more beneficial. So I think it's probably going to be better if you record it, but maybe we could just pay for a 15-second ad or something. And you could usually say it, but you could also have that person record it, or a 30-second ad. It's up to you, but I think honestly, because you use it, you like them, it will probably work best if you do it. There's this guy in the real estate space as well, same space as you and my old podcast, Joe Fairless. And he's got pretty big sponsors on his podcast. And the thing that he does is he won't let people give him copy. He researches them, thinks about what is in it for the listener, and he won't read anything. He just does it live. And sometimes it's 20 seconds, sometimes it's a minute, but he will consciously, you're the conscious investor, he'll consciously think about who the avatar is, and he'll extract that person, he'll call them out, and he'll give them what they want, and he'll jump off. But he doesn't use a script for it. He just says it. So I think that would probably be good for you to do as well, something similar.
Okay, I was thinking along those lines, and I'm like, I cannot touch my desk. Don't touch the desk with your hands. So I was thinking about that actually as well. I love Ryan Holiday, and on his podcast with his sponsors, it does not seem that he's reading a script, and it seems a little fresh every single time versus something, that you've heard before that's being read off. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. That is an absolute burning question of mine. So that is really helpful.
What other questions do you have?
Well, now it's delivery. It's execution and delivery.
Okay.
Right. So we talked about the ads and the voiceover support with copy. And you know what? Those are things that honestly, at this point, and you mentioned this on a podcast episode, probably like 40 episodes ago, that one of your clients didn't realize at the end of his year-long contract that he had all of these things, because we get into it. And so I'm like, thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Alex Atwood, he's a good friend. He just came out to town and we went out to coffee and stuff. But that is a really good guy. And I felt so bad. And I feel like I tell everybody, but apparently I don't. So, whoops.
Well, we're in the process.
Now I'm going to be better.
But you did it for me. That's why I'm saying thank you.
100%.
Oh, you showed up. Thank you. No, I'm like, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Very much appreciate it.
I love where this is going, but do you have any other questions before we jump off?
No, this answered so many of the questions, specifically to how do I create a quality ad for my sponsor, because I obviously want to show up 1,000,000% for them.
Well, I will say, I think the listener should commend you. I'm certainly proud of you. You took a couple leaps of faith. You, spent a little bit of money with me and my company to do editing and marketing for you when the podcast at the time wasn't generating income. You took a leap of faith. You did it before you got anything back. You trusted, and then you implemented the stuff that I was telling you that you didn't have to implement. You had to if you wanted the result, but a lot of people would just kind of chill. But you did it, and you're already getting 2,500, one call, one time, one phone call, and you got 2,500 coming in. I'm pretty sure that pays for us. I will need to look at how much all of the expenses are, but if that doesn't cover our costs, it's pretty damn close. So really, really proud of you going out, making that phone call with confidence, and it worked out for you. So this is a really fun episode to see your successes. Good job.
Seriously, this is collaboration. This is not something that I would have or could have done. I maybe would have figured it out someday, but I mean, this is exactly why I wanted to partner with you. So I just want to say thank you. And also, the content on my podcast is shifting, and the recordings, podcast recording day, just everything is starting to shift. And so I know that those results are going to still start showing up a month from now, 2 months from now, right? As that new content starts to get produced and distributed. So that's exciting, and it's exciting to say, okay, I know exactly the clarity on exactly what kind of content I need to produce. And that's just going to serve everybody. So I just have to say, thank you. You paved the way.
I'm happy for you. Maybe I paved a little bit of the way, but you're doing the work, you're showing up, and it's obviously working for you. So that's great. Really excited. If you're listening and you want to keep following along on Julie's journey, is she going to go to, you're at 5,000 this last month?
We're at just over 5,000.
Just over 5.
For the last 30 days.
Is she going to go up? Is she going to go down? Is she going to stay the same? You don't know until you tune in next time.
And you really don't know, because the content is shifting. And so I could actually lose listeners for a little bit before gaining the right listeners. There's a possibility.
All right. So if you want to see what happens with Julie Holly, you need to stay tuned. Am I good at that? Should I take TV?
I think you should.
Okay.
I think you can do that.
I'm going to do it. Okay.
Reminds me of Knight Rider.
I don't like lying. I'm not going to do it. Cool stuff. I had fun with you today, and we will see you definitely on the next episode. And if you're listening, just remember every other episode is me pouring into you, and I want to pour into you. So don't go anywhere. Just listen to the next episode where it's me helping you in your business. See you there. If you're glad that you checked out the podcast today, if you got some value out of this episode, some actionable takeaways, I invite you to do one of three things. A, you could do a written review on Apple. Let us know what you think. Just an honest written review. B, you could share the podcast with a friend of yours who needs it. Or C, at the very least, implement what you've learned to take your business and your podcast to the next level. And I'll see you on the next episode.